Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about my experience with postpartum depression. It's a really hard subject still to talk about, even though I'm not going through it at the moment. But I remember there were times where I was really even doubting my decision to have a baby, which is actually the guilt as a mother is really bad. I mean, I felt like a horrible mother. It made me feel guilty all the time. I felt like I wasn't doing a good job. I felt like I was doing something wrong all the time. I had quite a needy baby in terms of he wanted to be held constantly, and so I wanted to hold him too, but when he started demanding it all the time, it got really frustrating and exhausting. He wouldn't let me sleep much. He was breastfeeding about 9 hours a day. I was exclusively breastfeeding him until he was 6 months, so we also introduced solids. I just felt constantly exhausted. I felt like getting through the day was a struggle. I wasn't enjoying him. I mean, we obviously, don't get me wrong, we obviously had some really good moments, but what postpartum depression basically did to me, because I don't know how it affects other people, is just basically it made me focus more on the negative than on the positive side of things, which isn't really like me. I'm not that kind of person, so it was really hard on me when it's supposed to be the happiest time of your life, having your baby, and it's something that I really wanted. It was planned. I had thought everything through. I mean, it was something I was really excited about, and when I finally had my baby, I don't know exactly when it came too, you know, I can't really pinpoint these things. I just remember everything being I remember being really sad and tired, constantly exhausted, and I know that sleep deprivation does that to people, but you know, everybody else seemed to get through it, get on with it, and I just couldn't. I basically spent the first few months in my pajamas. I did go out with the baby as much as I could. I even traveled with him. I got out. It wasn't that I didn't get to do things with my baby. I was with him 24/7 anyways, but we did spend time outside with, you know, I did activities with him. I kept him busy, entertained, and all those things you're supposed to do with a baby. But I mean, on paper, I was, you know, the mother I wanted to be. So in my eyes, the perfect mother. But it was just, I wasn't feeling it. It was just, I had like a dark cloud over me all the time. So I mean, I think I realized I really, like, there was something wrong with me at around 6 or 7 months. Before that, I mean, I knew I had bad days, but after a while, you know, the bad days outweighed the good ones, and I was starting to really feel it. At about 6 or 7 months, I realized that, you know, I can't do this anymore. Something has to change. And I remember talking to my husband and telling him that, you know, this is, you know, I don't know what to do anymore. Nothing's changing. The baby was going through sleep regression, so he wasn't sleeping again. Not that he slept much, but I mean, at some point he did some 2 or 3 hour stretches, which was great. I mean, that was a luxury for me. So 2 or 3 hour stretches, so just like waking up for 3 or 4 feedings at night was okay with me. I could deal with that. It's not that I was being you know, irrational or anything. I knew he was a baby, and I knew that, you know, I won't get to sleep much. I knew all that. I mean, it was normal. But at some point he wouldn't even go to sleep for over an hour at a time, and his sleep regression came, I think, around 4 or 5 months. And I thought I was finally, you know, getting past that point where he wouldn't be sleeping. I thought, you know, maybe a 3 or 4 hour stretch at night, you know, I could deal with that. That was no problem. But he wasn't even giving me that. And as time went on, I kept on hoping that, you know, he's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months old, things will start getting better. But they weren't. So that's when I started feeling the desperation that, you know, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. This is not going to go away. This is not going to pass. Because I was just hanging on in there, waiting for this whole phase to pass. And it just wasn't passing. So at around, I think it was around Christmas last year, I just started getting really desperate, and I just thought things through, and I was like, okay, what I basically need is a little time on my own. So he was at the age where he was starting to eat solids, so I could manage to leave him alone maybe for an hour at a time, because he had been breastfeeding on demand, so I was constantly there. I was breastfeeding him when I was breastfeeding him to sleep, so basically I had to be there for all his naps. At that point he was having, I think, 2 or 3 naps a day, plus his nighttime sleeping and feedings. So I had to be with him pretty much 24/7, or at least in my mind I had to be with him 24/7. I didn't want to leave him alone, on the one hand. On the other hand, I really needed some time on my own. But it's all really conflicting, you know, for a first-time mother. You can't really set your priorities. You're like, okay, I'm a mother now. This is what I have to do. I have to be there for my baby. He needs me. That's how I had it in my mind. Besides my husband, who really helped me with the baby, I didn't have any other help. I finally asked my parents to look after him once or twice a week. I enrolled to a gym. I did that for a few times. I mean, then my parents weren't available. I couldn't make it to the gym. You know, life happened. So it kind of like, we did that maybe for 5 weeks, and then that fell apart. The first few times I went to the gym, I remember I enrolled to, I started a Zumba class. I don't know. I just wanted to do something fun and uplifting. I'm not the gym type to go and like lift weights and do all the machines. I find that really boring. So I thought I'd do something fun, like dancing and working out at the same time. Plus, you know, I didn't have anything on my mind. The music was really loud, so it was nice. But I did keep on checking my phone just to see if my mother had called. Yeah, okay, the first few times going to the gym was stressful, so I'd go there, like, do my thing. It was really nice while, you know, the music was on and everything, and then I'd have to go home, rush, breastfeed him, take a shower quickly, and then tend to him again. So those few days that I finally got out of the house, I saw a huge difference. The fact that I socialized, I changed clothes, I just got out a bit and did something for myself, felt really good. And I think at around, I can't really pinpoint when I got out of postpartum depression, but from the moment that I realized that something was wrong and I decided to do something about it, I think it took maybe 2-3 months to start feeling like myself again. Again, there were good days and bad, like always, but I just started being a lot more positive and getting out, and of course the I think also the season changing too. So I think around 9 or 10 months, that's when I think I started like gradually getting out of it. It must have been about I don't know, February, March. This days started getting bigger. The weather was quite good during those days, so I took him to the park. We just sat there for hours looking at other children playing. I'd sit him there on the grass, and we just have a really nice time together, and just getting out and not being stuck in the house because of, you know, crappy weather was also nice. So gradually all these things just added up and things just started getting much better. By the time he was 1 year old, we had so much fun together, and it really saddens me, and I feel horrible and guilty that I missed out on all those first few months. Not that I really missed out, but I just have, like, there's a negative and feeling around that time and that dark cloud that I told you about. And ever since I got out of this whole thing, I just feel so much better. I'm so in love with my son. We have so much fun together. He's such a funny little boy, and it's just too bad that I went through that. I don't understand why it happens. I guess it's hormones. Also, I have to add that I didn't get, I mean, I don't know if people want to hear about this, but I didn't get my period till he was about 1, just before his first birthday. So all the hormones and everything, I think really, like, they really fucked with my head. And yeah, I think that was also that also had to do with the depression. So the whole hormonal imbalance, I guess that's what it's about. I think around 9 or 10 months was when I got out of it, and I really, like, that was kind of gradual. You can't really pinpoint it, but I really love spending time with him. He is hilarious. I really can't imagine my life without him.
Hi, so I'm sure you've noticed that the scenery behind me is a bit different. Last night as I was editing my video, I noticed that my outro was missing and I can't find it anywhere. So I decided to come out and film since it's such a nice day, and I'll do my outro here. So I've been talking to you about my experience with postpartum depression, and I've been left with quite a bitter feeling of the first few months of my newborn baby's life, basically. The few words that have stuck with me regarding postpartum depression is exhaustion, depression, desperation, and guilt. Guilt of not being the mother I wanted to be, or not feeling the way I wanted to be. This was supposed to be the happiest time of my life, and I felt like I'd lost part of it, and it's something that I can never get back. And it still makes me feel horrible. But other than that, if you have anyone, if you know anyone that might be going through the same thing, or you've been through it, or are going through it, or you're suspecting that you might be going through it, because at the beginning you might not know you actually have it, like it was in my case, talk to someone, talk to a friend, talk to a therapist. If the problem might be financial, because it was for me at the beginning, I couldn't afford to see a professional. Talk to people around you. Don't feel pressure to do so, but do it. You'll feel much better. Talk to people that won't pressure you into doing something you don't want. Someone that you feel will understand what you're going through. That doesn't mean it's someone that has been going through it, but just someone that'll be there for you. And if you think that someone else might be going through it, a friend of yours or a family member, just be there for them. Don't pressure them. Don't make them feel even worse and guilty for going through it. Just stick around and listen to what they have to say. And if you think there's any way you can help them, do it. So, postpartum depression goes away. It's not there forever. It lasts a while. It makes you feel like crap, but trust me, later you'll feel much better and you'll get to enjoy your little baby and spend those moments that you might have lost. You'll make up for it. It's an amazing ride, it's an amazing experience, and you'll get through it. Everybody does. Everybody does it in their own time and in their own way, and you'll be fine. Just remember that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it'll be over sooner than you think. So I'm hoping you enjoyed my video. This was a very personal experience, a very sensitive subject for me. It's hard to talk about, but I think it's something that a lot of people don't talk about and should be out there, and people shouldn't feel bad about going through it. Yeah, so I really hope you liked my story, and I'll talk to you next time. Thank you very much for watching. All my information is linked down below, and have a nice day. Bye.